All right, segments, boys.
Yeah.
Let's do a real segment here. We're covering 311 with their album 311. It's also known as the Blue Album, guys. I learned that in my research.
In the opening,
Well, the cover's blue. So, in the opening montage, you heard a clip from Down, and now you're going to hear a clip. And I went very chalk on that one. I'll tell you why in a second. So 311 comes in at number 1,554 in the 1990s on Best Ever Albums, number 171 in 1995, number 9,282 of all time. It is 311's highest-rated album on Best Ever Albums. It did not make Rolling Stone's list, and 311 is ranked number 2,033 of overall artists on Best Ever Albums. All right, so this is actually their third studio album. 311 was around for a while prior to this. It was released on July 11th, 1995. Some of the genres you might find on a 311 record include alt-rock, rap rock, reggae rock, funk rock, and funk metal. So they're throwing lots of stuff into the blender here.
Yeah.
Artists that they were influenced by does make sense. Fishbone, Beastie Boys, Bad Brains, Common. Well, Grateful Dead was a little interesting. I thought an interesting one there. But Led Zeppelin, Santana, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Living Colour, Bob Marley, Faith No More, Jane's Addiction, and Wu-Tang Clan. Artists that they influenced. Some of Josh's favorites: P.O.D., Disturbed, Linkin Park, Papa Roach, Insane Clown Posse, Lit, and Uncle Kracker.
God damn, that's a murderer's row of things I hate.
Their highest charting album was 2009's Uplifter, which reached number 3 on the U.S. charts. The highest charting single was actually not even their song. 2004's cover of The Cure's Love Song reached number 59 on the
remember
US
that,
charts.
yes.
Oh, God, I don't remember
If you want to talk about an actual 311 song that was the highest rated or charting single,
Can I guess?
please, John.
Was it Amber?
It was not.
Was it Brilliant Disguise?
It was not.
Oh, okay. I give up.
It was Down, John. You should have gone.
Yes.
chalk
All
on
right.
that.
Fair enough.
It hit
yeah.
number 1 on the U.S. alt rock charts and 19 on the U.S. mainstream rock charts. But the only one that actually made the Billboard actual charts was Love Song. So this band's from Nebraska. Have we had a band from Nebraska yet? I can't really
It's a good question.
think of that.
Were
you
the
know.
Jayhawks from Nebraska?
They were from Minnesota.
Okay. I don't
We
know.
had Bruce Springsteen, Nebraska, but he's
Did
clearly
the-
not
that
from
might be the
Nebraska.
closest. All right, well, Bruce Springsteen,
We'll have
resident
to-
Nebraskan.
That's going to take some research.
That's a good. Hey, fact check that, Josh. They were formed in 1988 in Omaha, Nebraska, by Nick Hexum on vocals and guitar, Jim Watson on lead guitars.
Can I jump in real quick?
Please, John.
Guess who's from Nebraska? Matthew Sweet.
Oh, that's right. And then he went to Georgia. Good call,
Yep.
John.
Good job.
Also, we're going to have a lot of Nebraska coming into our life because Connor Oberst and Elliott Smith are from Nebraska. So
Oberst and Elliott
Nebraska's coming on, man,
Oh, boy.
right now.
Well, let's start with 311, coming in hard. Aaron Willis, also known as Peanut. Now, that's not like the actual spelling of peanut. It's P-nut.
That's about what I expected.
He's the bass player. And Chad Sexton, not related to Nick Hexum. The X's kind of made me go, oh, they're brothers. And I realized there's totally different last names. That's not the same. Chad Sexton plays the drums. Actually, Jim Watson was replaced on lead guitars in 1990 by Tim Mahoney. So he's more of the main artist on this album. They did add a fifth member in 1992, Doug Martinez, as a second vocalist and quote-unquote turntablist. The band's name, 311, was chosen by Peanut Willis. It comes from the police code for indecent exposure in Omaha after a friend of theirs was arrested and cited for skinny dipping in a public pool. So there you go. They released a couple of EPs. Their first one was released in 1989 called Downstairs. And then they had a release in 1990, Damn It, 1991, Unity, and 1992, Hydroponic, before their first major release in 1993 was of Music. So 311's put out a bunch of stuff prior to this record, which is probably most known for breaking the band.
Yeah.
In 1993, during when they were financing their own tour, they drove around in this RV, an old RV borrowed from Sexton's father, and they towed a Volkswagen bus, which had their equipment. But after taking a steep incline while en route to an Omaha show, the RV caught fire, and the only door out of the vehicle was surrounded by flames, so the band had to jump through the fire. Whoa. And luckily, nobody was injured. Yeah, but all of their equipment and possessions were lost in that fire. So I thought that was kind of a scary incident. Their second album, Grassroots, was released in 1994. And so this brings us to this album, which was produced by Ron St. Germain. Guys, remember what he produced?
Definitely not.
Ooh.
No? That's okay.
No.
Long gone are the days where we're like, guys, who did Tom Wilson produce, right? Where we all had that.
Everybody, the 60s.
Yeah. But Ron St. Germain produced a couple albums that we have covered on CTS, including Bad Brains' Eye Against Eye and Sonic Youth's Goo.
God, two really good albums, too.
Yeah. This album was recorded, so in contrast to some of their previous records, this was recorded live. So it's the first time that everybody kind of just played together rather than tracking single instruments and putting them all together. The song Down was the single that broke the band. This was released, another one of those things that was released 14 months after the album was released. So wow. It tracks because I remember 311 coming into my consciousness when I was in college, which was around 1996. Yeah. So another one of those slow burns, right? To take off. Following the terrorist attacks on September 11th, 2001, Down was placed on the list of post 9/11 inappropriate titles distributed by Clear Channel. So this was kind of banned on the radio.
Wait, they banned 311 because of 9/11?
Well, just
I don't get this at all. Okay.
For whatever reason, because remember the songs, maybe because it's down and the buildings fell down. Like I don't know. Guy.
God.
Why did it get banned? Because they didn't want it to
that song. There's nothing about the lyrics in Down that would any way invoke a terrorist attack at all,
or bring up hating 311.
No takes yet, Josh. No takes yet.
Well, it's basically about like getting down. Yeah, so right. I just in no way.
I think it's because it's just down and the buildings fell down. I think
we were at a pretty weird time post 9/11. I think
bunch of snowflakes,
candy asses.
You might say we were all mixed up.
Big softball there. March 11th, 2000 marks the day that 311 began celebrating an unofficial holiday of their own creation called 311 Day, because March 11th is 311. So, guys, the band chose that date, and every year they go on this. Most of the years since then, they have had this big concert extravaganza. It's not, some cases it wasn't just one day. Sometimes it was multiple days, and it's even turned into a cruising business. So there's the 311, Celebrate 311 on a cruise with 311 and a bunch of other bands I've never heard of, but I'm sure it sounds just like 311.
There's been a lot of years where I've sent you stuff on 311, Matt, if I remember, like to commemorate that it was 311 Day. And I do remember sending you something about like cruise signups one year.
And I deleted them immediately. So there you go. You can go see them, blah, blah, blah. So they have their own beer. These guys are like in the business world as well as entrepreneurs. Their own beer, 311 Amber Ale. That's brewed through the Nebraska Brewing Co. So you can get that only in certain states. Sadly, none of the three of us are in any of those states. Josh, maybe you are. I forgot. Maybe Idaho's one of them. I don't think so.
Doubt it. Yeah.
In 2017, they released their own cannabis vapor pen called the Grassroots Uplifter. So you can get high smoking a 311 vape pen. They are also a media sponsor for BK Racing on the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. And they have a total of 13 albums. Number 14, Full Bloom, is set to be released in a few days, fellas, October 25th. Order it now, pre-sale online. Get your copy of Full Bloom, album number 14 from 311. Josh, you've already tipped your hands here, but let me get your full take. What do you think of 311's 311?
Oh, God, this album is horrible. I remember I never liked 311. Not even when they were out. I always found them fake and derivative and seemingly just not talented. And so I came into this thinking, well, maybe there's something there this time that I'll see. Unfortunately not. The lyrics are awful. The delivery is clumsy, and both of the singers suck. that sing back and forth. The music isn't interesting. I think the production, I've been trying to pay more attention to that after John's been bringing it up. I find the production, I think, is flattening everything, or at least they're just using the same sounds for every song and they're not kind of mixing it up or
it is a loud production that we talked about last week for sure.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And so I'm hearing that. It seems like it's the same guitar sound on every song, this kind of like muddy, just electric guitar that's kind of like grungy with some, I don't know, fuzz or feedback in it. I don't like this. There's this trend that's starting. I mean, it's been going on for a while, but I just don't like 311's kind of mix of incorporation of like reggae beats and rhythms with their rap rock. They're just rap rock as a whole is a pretty mixed bag. As we get further into the 90s, we're going to see more examples that don't work. I think there's very few that do. Kind of Rage Against the Machine is the only example that actually does, and I think they have a lot going for them that kind of rises above that genre or gimmick. And I just found this album interminable, even as short as it was. It was hard to get through, and I did get through it, but revisiting it a second time, I could not get through it. So I don't have anything good to say about this album. This is one of I'd rather go back and listen to Scott Walker again, or like any of the other kind of like avant-garde albums that we listen to other than this. This just seems kind of bottom of the barrel, and stay in Nebraska, 311. So thumbs down for me.
When you find out that like 15 years ago, like a white guy wore blackface, like, and the pictures come out and stuff like that, I feel like that's the vibe I get like in a 311 album. Yeah. It's just like, I don't know, man. I this album did not connect with me at all. I didn't remember having strong opinions of 311 at all, but I also noticeably didn't particularly engage with their music. Like I know like 4 or 5 311 songs because I went to college in the Midwest at a specific time, and much like a certain type of rock music that would come in the late 90s, like System of a Down and Stained and stuff like that, there's this genre that I feel, there's like genres that I feel are designed to play to like the middle of the country kind of, but don't necessarily resonate as much on the coasts, I think, because you're just kind of isolated from culture in some places. So you can be well-meaning and want to explore cultures, but like you're filtering it through like a very, very Caucasian version of like doing stuff. And I feel like 311 is at the top of that type of music. It's just the lyrics are brutal on this. There's no other way to put it beyond that. They're worse than like I imagine they would be. Like that's like when you get to like All Mixed Up, you're getting things like, watch me now with the wicked and the wild. We come with a funky style that gets us known for the show, and we'll mix the hip hop reggae if we say it so, and fuck the naysayers. It's like, oh my God. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just like,
yeah, it sounds so amateurish listening to this. Like,
that's a little bit what it is. I mean, I guess some people might find it heavy, but it's, we haven't got into like rap rock or new metal yet, another genre that I have very mixed feelings on, and we'll talk about plenty when like we get there, but this doesn't even have like really hooky guitar parts for me. No. Just the double-barreled white guy reggae rap, especially because we've heard like Sublime and stuff who just do like everything about that version of. And, Sublime got plenty of knocks, right, for being sort of derivative, right, by a certain group of people. But, like, I think just the difference is that, like, Sublime grew up in Long Beach. You know what I mean? These guys grew up in Nebraska. And there's, like, a little bit more of, like, a field testing there. Even, like, when you have a song called Guns Are for Pussies, it's like, ugh, like, and Loco, where you're trying to, like, it's like, it's just... there's just a lot. I knew a lot of people who really loved 311, and almost all of them were like really nice guys, but not deep thinkers. Like lots of frat guys. Like it just so there's like a lot of people had like Nick Hexum's hair too, like yellow, like yellowish blonde, frosted tips. So I might have some biases a little bit, like about like it's kind of like. There were some like skaters that liked them, but not like skaters who'd done it for a while or were good at skating. They were sort of like people that were just on the fringes of skating.
Yeah, it's like stoner skater posers.
But it's not great stoner music. It's not great skate music. It's not great like reggae music. It's not great heavy music.
Right.
It's just I would say mid, but I like it less than mid. And I think I was hoping like with my first take of 311 because like I know Matt we'll let Matt have his own take, and I knew Josh was going to hate this. I was like, oh, I kind of like the idea of coming in as like the alternate take, so it's not just, but no, that there just was not much to get down with, pun intended, on this. And just I didn't feel any different about it after a couple listens than before. It just didn't, there was not a deeper layer than what I got, and the first layer was unappealing. So, yeah, man, this is one of my least favorite albums we've covered in the 90s.
Yep.
I would have been shocked if John came in liking this record. I did own this record. This was a record that I got off of the I don't remember why. I remember having it and then just like not having it.
It just appeared like that U2 album.
I mean, in my memory, that's. I mean, I know I didn't steal it or just like I bought it from a store, or maybe I got it from a.
You auto downloaded it into your own collection.
Yes, that's right. But and I don't remember. I remember kind of liking All Mixed Up and being okay with Down, which is the songs that I picked here because it's the only ones that were I could.
They were the singles too, right?
Yeah, putting on here. I think some of the touch points, you said it, John, like there's definitely elements of artists that we've covered that I really do like. Like there's some Chili Pepper stuff in here, like that rap, that funk stuff going on. Like the more reggae kind of elements of the Sublime, where we haven't done that's a self-titled album, right? Sublime. But we did 40 Ounces to Freedom, which I'm okay with. But I like Sublime stuff as well. And this is kind of like, John, this is an album where I started to see more of your complaints about the kind of appropriation or kind of taking, the white person taking the music that comes from a certain culture, a certain place, and kind of makes it their own. We've talked about that with like Paul Simon or Peter Gabriel or world music. I've always kind of defended the Paul Simons and Peter Gabriels of the world because I think that they've made really good albums doing that. And I was always like, who cares if they're derivative or if they're, they're taking another culture and making that genre more popular. But, I didn't care as much. This bothers me. I hate this album. I listened to it once and I was like, I don't need to listen to this again. It was, I was too trying to come at this with an open mind. It had been years since I've heard it. And actually, in full disclosure, this might have been the first time I ever listened to this album all the way through. Like I don't know if I ever did that. I think I probably turned this off fairly quickly when I was younger. And then I don't know if I threw it away. I don't know where this album is. All my other albums are like, most of the CDs I have are in a binder somewhere in my attic. This is not in there, to me, John, you said there's no hooks. There's nothing that grabs you. Like when they start to mix stuff up and go into the choruses, which are supposed to kind of be the standout part of the song, they fall flat. They don't, it's like the verses, which aren't good either, are better than the choruses for the most part. And it seems to me, and I'm sure I know there's plenty of people that love 311, and if you're listening,
we'll hear from all of them in the comments on YouTube.
I get it, right? And I'm trying to, but I just can't. It seems lazy. It seems like some lazy songwriting that just is like by people that are trying, or that are, they're successful, credit to them, but like, I don't know. They are not particularly good songwriters, and I'm not even talking the lyrics. I'm sure that they're not good either, but musically, I don't know, man. This is just not grabbing me in any way. and it was annoying. It's not even 40 minutes, and I was just ready for this to be over. It got worse as it went along, and I was definitely right about this record. Maybe they have better stuff in other albums, but this is certainly not hitting it for me. I'm also catching the beginning. Yes, the new metal stuff. This is where this is starting to creep up, and I started thinking, this is mid 1995, mid 90s. This is there's definitely a point in time where the music goes from really really good, that stuff that's on the radio, to stuff that's like, ooh, very cringy. It's definitely kind of like, this is one of the bands I'm sure that would have played, or they should have played, Woodstock 99. The bro kind of frat rock is definitely, that vibe is here.
Well,
and it's just not interesting music at all. It's annoying, and they're trying too much. And I'm sorry, but this is one of the worst albums we've covered on this podcast, let alone not just the 90s. So yeah, thumbs down for me. Let's not cover this band again, guys.
Oh, wow. Okay. My one buddy did remind me, he said, in one of your finest moments, John, and you don't have many. So he made sure to, dig it in right there. Yes. He said, you don't have many. He goes, but I told him we were covering 311 this week. He goes, I do remember that you called them the Leasty Boys when we were in college. So he said that was one of your finest moments. Nice. So we'll end with that. So